Good evening. It's nice to be here once again. We have been, over the past 4 years, we have been working with the IGPC and the Gold Council, IGPC in the area of what you call research related to HRM and people management in the gold sector. So as announced, this is nothing to do with the consumption of the gold, but the people behind the manufacturing of jewelry. And this is one of the bottlenecks and challenges of this industry going forward. That's what the practitioners do talk about it. In the previous editions, we have presented a Karigar life cycle model, the formalization, the informal characteristics of workers, and how some of those organizations are trying to formalize it with very progressive human resource management policies, which are not being really talked about. So we have taken one case study of a captive manufacturing organization and trying to map it to the decent work framework. Decent work framework is proposed by the ILO. So let me go about it. I will put in the conceptual part, and the case study part we would, a particular novel would be presenting. We cannot reveal the name of the company at this point is because we have not obtained formal clearances. Subject to clearance, we hope that it will be registered at IIMA as a teaching case study, and then it would be with the company release, it would be available for all people. And now for the academics from the other streams, teaching cases are very differently authored. Okay, so it may not, it would have a different tinge from the, academic case studies or the research case studies. So after every presentation we make using teaching case studies, we get this comment by telling us that, no, this is not what case study is about. No, we are writing a teaching case study, which is problem-centric. So how do we focus on the students to solve a problem? Okay, so it would end up raising a lot of questions rather than providing explanations and answers. So since we approach from that, it will have a tinge of that. Okay, so this is about the gold jewelry, which I am sure we have been talking about it. So we will skip that, is because everybody knows about what they are at, and the initiatives taken by Government of India also to upgrade the Karigar framework. Our research project was also aimed at that, how do you improve the skills of the Karigars? And we do see that, okay, there are challenges in terms of, how the Karigar builds the skill, the ability of the industry to attract people. There are lots of studies are there in that. Okay, and as the industry is getting more formalized and people are becoming more understanding about the responsibilities to different stakeholders, and the large manufacturers who are public limited companies, in fact, some of the large jewelry chains are public limited companies where, there is pressure at the board level to include ESG as a reporting criteria, and boards do spend time in terms of really looking at ESG criteria, though at this point there may be arguments that it is just tick boxing and whitewashing, but there are certain levels on which certain organizations are actually taking responsibility to create better quality human resource management, Karigar management practices, though it involves a lot of investment in it. Okay, you have this model of the work arrangement which is mapped. Okay, so you have multiple type of employees. It's an old category. We have tried to fix it up, and that is actually novel skill to put it all in one slide. Okay, so you have in-house as well as outsourced manufacturing categories like any other category, and the categorization of employees as permanent, contractual, casual, employee, trainee, apprenticeships, or a variety of contracts are there, and of course there are a lot of freelance home-based, self-employed people make up that, of course. But in the outsourced, again, okay, whoever is in this industry would know that you have the outright model and the outwork model, okay, whether gold is purchased and jewelry is made and sold, or the gold is given, the jewelry is made and given. Okay, each has its own dynamics and each has its own work allocation frameworks, which are very important. But then in the outwork area, where even the gold is actually given, okay, you have captive as well as non-captive. Okay, sometimes it's actually exclusive contracts for large jewelry chains which you develop, or you have organizations which actually work on what you call a toll model, which means that I will manufacture for anyone who wants me to manufacture. So each of these organizations again develops their own particular type of core competence. Okay, and that is very interesting when we got into is that the capabilities which these organizations internally build. For example, some of the organizations like Emerald in Coimbatore do work for multiple multiple jewelry brands, but and also employs a huge workforce of 4,000 plus people, which is like any other large industry. Okay, a textile and including maybe some of the IT industries which have such huge ones. So, and it brings in whole level of challenges with multiple type of employment contracts getting operated. So we look at it from a human resource management perspective, that how does this human resource management really ties up? Okay, so this is all about the industry. I will start skip that. Okay, and the exclusive, the non-exclusive vendors, and everything. There is a manufacturing pattern. There is some amount of homogenization, that almost the same patterns, handmade versus machine jewelry, okay, small, large, semi-formal sizes. But one very interesting thing which we have actually noticed, so we are trying to explore it, we couldn't reach out to some of them, is with maybe, very, very high-tech, manufacturing and, very compact manufacturing tools coming up. In fact, when we talk to some of the industrialists, they also really talk about the future with the Karigar who possibly sits with a design and sophisticating maybe CAD and two-dimensional and three-dimensional CAD tools, okay, along with what you call printer, which is the 3D printer, and is able to create the molds, okay, which actually means that, there is this at one leg you have aggregation of technology, the human skills, and very different skills. So we started looking at some of the recruitment advertisements. So very interesting, some of the major jewelry brands have started really advertising for some of these skills. Okay, so if you look at a jewelry designer, skills, familiarity with 2D, 3D manufacturing, okay, AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Figma, some of those advanced design software is slowly becoming a parameter. And some of them, I understand, is present in some of those what you call national, regional level design institutes, campuses for campus placements. So, you will find a very different type of, people who are actually entering the, what you call this thing. And whether maybe the traditional Karigar will be replaced, that's a question, but then, there is a higher level of skill which is actually coming into it, and you can see traces and indicators of that. And in this process, okay, when it is moving from maybe a dirty industry, okay, from a shop floor to a sophisticated workplace, that shift is where what you call the importance of human resource management comes. And some of these brands who are under also obligation for being responsible to their customers, responsible in their manufacturing supply chains, okay, also do end to demand that these exclusive suppliers do follow human resource, what you call decent work conditions, or human resource management policies centered around decent work conditions. Okay, So, we had our methodology is, in-depth interviews, participant observations, or they're focused on HRM. We spend time in those organizations, in their boardrooms, in their committee rooms, in their floors, observing how these people work, how they are treated, okay, and the facilities, etc., which are given to them. So, and also compared with with a very formal company like Titan versus some of these captive vendors which are small time coming up, and how they learn from each other, and how conditions of work are built up. And that is where the decent work framework. Now, how do you design a human resource management practice in such a case, particularly for blue-collared workmen? And as far as if you look at designing it for an IT industry or knowledge workers, you have enough number of frameworks available. Okay, you have the Harvard model, you have the Michigan models, you have multiple types of models which are available for the industry to design human resource management practices. But how do you really define it for the blue-collared karigars, the workers? And that's where ILO comes up with the decent work framework, which to me is not just a compliance checklist, but a design framework for you to ensure that your human resource management policies and practices are of higher quality and are what you call within quote sustainable. Some of these things talks about is about open for work for both men and women. Okay, so is there what you call any sort of gender biases which actually bring it? And traditionally, the informal sector is known to be a male-centered workplace. And what are those freedoms available in those workplaces? Okay, there is, while we say is that bonded child labor, etc., are not there, but if you look at the traditional apprenticeship model, okay, there are traces of, the child or the chotu being trained and apprenticed and really moving up. How work, how productive is the work, how equity is provided in the work, are there discrimination, are there work-life balance, fair treatments, are there social security protections available for these workers? Is there really dignity at work, respectful dignity? As part of our study, we went and visited some of these workshops run in the underbellies of some of these cities. Okay, 4-floored mansions we really climbed up, and and that's where the beautiful jewelry is made. And one look getting into it, and one look at the toilet, you will never stay. But buy gold jewelry once if you see that, because that's where they work. And incidentally, since that's the only place where there is water connection, they cook there, they bathe there, and they live there. Okay, and that's too under extremely surveillance or strict conditions, is because to take even the lastest amount of dust, okay, even their clothes are actually ensured that even the clothing is just not really moves out. So it's in a way some sort of extremely pathetic conditions in which they are really work. And it was really bad. I climbed up a couple of years, and Novel and team, etc., really went and sat down with them, and but it was horrible. From there, when we saw some of these modern manufacturing facilities, okay, where subscribe to some of these decent work conditions, which provides dignity to these people, okay, and of course, employment security, work security, representational securities, etc., are part of it. And it's like a moral right of the employee. Do you really protect the moral right of the employee, or do you really treat them as what they call as the Theory X management framework, which actually believes that employees are inherently lazy, employees are inherently kaamchors. Okay, and you have, so from there is how do you really do it from to more progressive, sustainable things. So we looked at this particular organization, which is part of a larger brand, nurtured by that brand as part of their improvement of working conditions in the supply chain. And this is not new for this industry. Okay, sorry, for the garment industry. If you look at the textile industry, if you look at a lot of other industries, improving work conditions across in your supply chain, okay, in your supplier chain or in your value chain has been mandated and it's been practiced by some of those larger brands. It is also looked at it from a corporate governance and a risk management perspective, okay? So from there, these are some of those. We found that a lot of places it's alignment, there are points of misalignment, okay? And that is where we thought about the sustainable human resource management policies, okay, which they are coming up, and I will ask Noel to actually take you through those elements of what we saw as the case study in that company, okay?
Good afternoon, everyone. So talking about sustainable human resource practices as being talking about the HR first, coming from a traditional concept of human resource where only employee and boss working, but now as in sustainable human resource has come up, which has a broad definitions in the organization, which we are talking about. So sustainable human resource management is what the 4 pillars, which includes is one, human, social, environmental, and financial sustainability, which now as a company moving towards modernization is looking. And when we studied this captive vendors, we have also seen that there is some kind of this sustainable HRM which they follow, and which is like very rarely observed in the gold manufacturing industry, because as sir already spoke that there is a decent work alignment and deviation which comes from the major part, as majorly the industry is informalized and it is on the way of formalization. So many of the formal companies take under this kind of sustainable HRM practices. When we talk about the human capital, so being a captive vendor, they believe that human is one of the main capital in this industry, because gold is, as we say, gold is a very important metal. The human is someone which they have to be invested, because as karigars, as artisans, they are the one who, they design the jewelry, they give it life to them. There are a lot of emotions attached towards the gold jewelry industry, because it's majorly used in marriages or in different like giving to relative as a gift or something. So human capital is something they believe that this is a backbone of the jewelry manufacturing industry, and the capital vendor believes that they should like to invest more in the human capital and giving them a healthy life, giving them developing their skills and encouraging them, because as we have also seen that it's the handmade jewelry is also now being a dying craft. So then investing in human, they think that the young generation would come, the young generation would be encouraged, and they will get into the industries, and the dying craft would be saved. Further, moving to the social capital, the main aim here is to increase the living standard of the people, increase the living standard of the artisan, because they are just being in a part of the unseen picture which we have seen in the manufacturing industry. The major part, as in coming up a formal, like the formal major companies comes up and they publish their design, they market it, they advertise it, but the picture behind it and maintaining that relation with the artisan, they at times is very important. And being the captive vendor which we have studied, they believe that nurturing that social relation is very important, is because of them it is that they are earning that profit, they are doing good in market. It's because of them they are able to fulfill the demand of the customers. So maintaining them, keeping them happy is one of their social responsibility which they believe. Further, moving towards the environmental capital is because being as a responsible supplier, now human resource management also has this, as sir mentioned, it also has that ESG components coming up, maintaining and sustaining of environment, using the resources fully, reutilizing the wastage. There are zero discharge facilities, all the waste material has been, they keep it with themselves, and then they do not discard openly in the environment, which has to be happen before this responsible manufacturing or sourcing comes up. Further, moving towards the financial capital, they also believe now, being a part of sustainable HRM, it is not only like that only company wants to earn the profit. It's not only that, it's just the number. It's like even the employees, the the capital should, they should earn, they should have, they should be good, they should improve their living standard, and there is a they are not in the race to just to make profit. They're like effectual fully utilization of their wellness, fully utilization, their improving their social relation, investing in the humans, contributing towards the environment, all hand in hand will also increase the sustainable HRM in the industry. So talking about the responsible sourcing, that many of the large manufacturing company have included responsible sourcing in their supply chain, and they also make sure that their vendor partners also carry out this kind of manufacturing, because their main aim is, as I mentioned, is to benchmark the 4 Ps. It's like the people, the formal cap, the people which are included, that has to be, they should be treated equally with fair treatment. The process, now a lot of the formal companies are making their manufacturing process very transparent, and it is like it is available, they are making videos and putting it onto their websites. Place of working place, as mentioned, that now the dingy dirty working place is now converted into a work hygiene safe place, where employees are given chairs and tables to work. Their health condition is taken, they regularly do the eye checkup, etc. And talking about the planet, as we all mentioned, that taking care of our planet, taking care of the environment is also a very important part of responsible source management. So where it is, as they have adopted the new government, with the help of government, they have adopted this safety license, PF, ESI certification, pollution-free manufacturing. A lot of companies have this now industrial park concept has come up, which we already, in last of our presentation, we talk about that West Bengal has their own industrial park where they provide safety and health, good health environment of working place and with fire alarms and electric. Karigar are provided with accommodation, free food, and they have a good central AC sitting arrangement with zero discharge factories, proper training of safeties, first aids are provided. Also, as the industry is now moving towards equal opportunities, many female workers have joined them in wire cutting and ball dyeing works. So there has been a separate changing room for females, some females who have the rooms for pregnant ladies, and there is a crash facilities for them as well. Medical insurance are provided for the employees. In facilities for gym and indoor games are provided. Labor engagement activities such as mentorship, motivational speaker section, which majorly came up during the COVID, because we have done our data collection majorly during the time of COVID. So at that time, it was very important to put the motivation of employees at high, because the work has stopped and they were into the dilemma that whether they will earn or not. So there is like 50% of the salaries were paid to them for the formal companies, and this kind of other activities which have started is majorly during that time of COVID and post-COVID, and 100% labor compliances is maintained in responsible sourcing. Challenges which we talked, and even the regulators also talk about this kind of, like maintaining the setup, because small scale people cannot invest in maintaining the large facilities. There should be minimum 80 to 100 people, then only the facilities will be cost effective into that. And now small vendors, what they think is like investing in their employment activities, their wellness and other, they believe that it is a cost for them. They believe that their productivity is going to differ, and there is like lot of investment which has to be taken. So the challenges here is to make the stakeholders see the larger picture, and how they can change their mindsets towards technological intervention from the traditional practices. And also there should be an initiative from the government as well to modernize the gold jewelry manufacturing industry, leveraging the government scheme towards promoting the industry would be a good option to increase, to move this in the gold manufacturing industry precisely from traditional setup to a technological setup. And as talking during our last intervention, when we talked to the captive vendors and the manufacturers, what they believe their way forward was to how, as sir also talked in the earlier session, that how AI can join into the manufacturing industry, and how they can bring women more into the industry by they are planning to move their women from 30% in the company by 2006. So that's from us. from our side, any observation and suggestion, if would welcome.
Thank you very much. I think we have another 3 presentations. It was very good, excellent. I mean, most of the observations are really riveting in that sense. The important thing is this is a big challenge. We'll listen to the others also and probably have one round of discussions. Yeah, please sit down. Very, very good presentation. Thank you very much.